We'll start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karane Shuniyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhirya Chatraha Stirairangaihi Sustubakum Sastanubihi Dashema Devahitam Yadayuho Swasti na Indro Vrittasravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti nastakshorarishthanemihi Swasti no Brihaspati'r Dadato Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying Mandukya Upanishad with Shankara Bashyam, and now we are on the 24th Karika of the 4th chapter. The 4th chapter is primarily to understand the other schools of thought. We have already seen Astika Matams. Astika means Nyaya, Yoga, Vaiseshika, Purva Mimamsa. These matams, they all believe in the Vedas. They draw conclusion from the Vedas. And they are all Dvaita philosophers who says Purusha is also real and Prakriti is also real. Shankaracharya's main contention with them is if there are two realities, each one will limit the other and you can never get moksha. That is the Astika Matams. Now, last week we started the Nastika Matams. The Nastika Matams are primarily the 4 Buddhistic schools and also Jainism and Charvakas. So 6 Nastikas are there and 6 Astikas are there. Totally, there are 12 philosophers in the Hindu philosophers database. All these are analyzed in Brahma Sutra in the 2nd chapter also. For more details of these debates, one can go into either the other Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashyam, the Chandogya Upanishad Bhashyams. Those also have very big details of the debate between all these schools of thought. The closest school of thought to Advaitam is one school of thought in Buddhism, which is called as Yogacara. So in Buddhism also, suppose you want to study Buddhism and you want to go a little bit detail, you should try to see Yogacara Buddhism. That is the closest to Advaita Vedanta. With this brief background, we'll enter the 24th Karika. And here, Shankaracharya's commentary, basically, this is an introduction. So here he gives a little bit of a summary of all the schools in the Nastika philosophers. And he says these Nastikas, they evolve their philosophy out of cognitions of the sense organs and the sense experiences which we have. So they draw the conclusions from them. Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, Yogachara, they accept Shanika Vijnana. Shanika Vijnana means there is momentary consciousness. In Advaita philosophy, it is Vritti Jnanam. All these people are trying to understand what is the Jnanam which we have in this universe. Because through Jnanam, they can reach Chaitanya, which is pure consciousness without any conditioning. Sautrantika and Vaibhashika accept Shanika Vijnanam as the subject observer. That means there is a world and there is a observer of the world. What is the nature of the observer? It is knowledge based, which is Chaitanya. What is the nature of the world which is observed? It is inert in nature. So observed is inert, observer is Chit Swarupa. Very similar to what we also say. So this is what I was telling you, Astitvavadi, Nastitvavadi. 24 to 28, there are 4 Karikas, 5 Karikas, which deal with these schools of thought, that is the Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana and Mahayana are the 2 broad schools of thought which we discussed last week. Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana has 2 schools. Mahayana has got 2 schools. In the Mahayana, it is Yogachara and Madhyamika. Yogachara and Madhyamika. These are the 2. Even if we don't remember, it doesn't matter. Just understand the philosophy behind it. Now, Mahayana says there is no separate world at all. It is all in the buddhi. The world, the vrittis, they come into the buddhi and nothing else, but and the Sakshi consciousness is seeing the buddhi, which we also say. Advaitan also says that the world comes out of the vritti jnana. Now, apart from the vritti jnanam and the turiya chaitanyam, there is no world outside, is the Mahayana. What does Hinayana say? Hinayana says, Hinayana school is Vaibhashika and Sautrantika. They say there is world outside and there is also Shanika Vijnana. See, both of them, they say Vijnanam. And Vijnanam, what is common between the Buddhist schools? All the schools, they believe there is only temporary consciousness of the world, which is what we say as Vritti Jnana. But in Advaitin, there is something called as Swarupa Jnana, which is the ultimate for us. Vritti Jnanam is Mithya, but they take Vritti Jnanam as Satya. In that Vritti Jnanam, either this one group of Hinayana says there is external world, another group which is the Yogachara and Madhyamika, they say there is no world outside. This is the revision portion of the 24th mantra. Now, why do they say there is no world? They compare the waking world and dream world. Dream world doesn't exist separate from the observer, which is consciousness. Isn't it true? Dream world, for all of us, there is a dream observer and the observer observes the dream world. And apart from that observer, there is no dream world. Similarly, what they say is in the waking world also, the world outside doesn't exist apart from the waker who is the observer. This is how they develop their thesis. What does Vedanta say? Vedanta says the observer is Nityam and Satyam. That means there is an observer consciousness. Whether the world exists or not, whether the world is experienced or not, according to Advaitin, there is a Nitya Chaitanya. Continuously Vivarta. In Vivarta means changeless. So in changeless consciousness, Turiyam, you have world appearing, disappearing. That is observer and observed in Vedanta. In Yogacara, Shanika means, the word Shanika means momentary. Yogacara is the name of the school of thought in Buddhism, which talks about Shanika Vijnana. Shanika means momentary consciousness, momentary knowledge. So they established there is no external world at all, only momentary consciousness. And according to them, every experience has got two components. One is the experiencer, which is called as prajnam or vijnanam, subject, and the object is the sound, smell, touch, and taste, and so on, which we also say. Now they go into the Tarkika mode. Now, see, they are Nastikas. Nastika means they don't have any trust or any faith in the Veda. In the Upanishads, they don't have faith in the Upanishads. But they have a tremendous confidence in the intellect, which can think logically. So they give primary importance to logic, tarka. In tarka, there is paksha, sadhyam, hetu, drishtanta. 4 components are there in every inference. Paksha and sadhyam is basically pratigna, what you want to propose. And hetu is the reason. Drishtanta means example. So whenever you want to draw an inference, first you have to give a proposition. Then you have to say what are the reasons. And then you have to give an example to prove your inference. So consciousness exists with objects and consciousness exists without objects. If consciousness is there without objects, when do we experience this? In the sleep state. And that state is called as unmanifest state. Nirvishaya prajna. Nirvishaya means there is no world of objects in that state of consciousness. That is our real Swarupam according to Advaita Vedanta. Body, mind, intellect world is an experience of plurality with objects. Suppose you say that consciousness is momentary. That means the next moment there is no consciousness. One moment there is consciousness, there is a gap in between in which there is no objects, there is no consciousness. So what the debate which they do in this section is, Shankaracharya says that if it is only momentary consciousness, then your state will be like this deep sleep state, because nothing is momentary. I mean, everything is momentary. So if everything is momentary, what is constant? Our matam, our philosophy is there has to be a screen for the movie. You cannot see a movie without the screen. So consciousness by itself has no objects, and that is Turiya Atma. What is the innate nature of our own? What is our that? See, this is how our own matam becomes very clear. Ultimately, we say that I am Turiya Atma. In Turiyatma, there is no objects at all. What is there in Turiyatma? Pure self-evident, self-existent consciousness. But what do other people say? We have got experiences in the world, so there must be some objects in the world. For example, we have red color, blue color, yellow color, which we experience in the different objects, in different flowers in the outside world. So experiences are there, therefore external world should be there, is their matam. Real world should be there. What do we say? We say, yes, the world is there, but it is not a real world. It is a mithya world. That is the difference between our matams and the Hinayana and Mahayana matams. See, what we should understand is where they are wrong, and where, by knowing just momentary consciousness, we can never say that we will get moksha. By knowing the Nitya consciousness, which is changeless, that alone we can get moksha. So, there is an observer, there is an observed world. The fundamental question is, what we are asking is, there are three views. What are the three views? Try to understand this first. Matter alone exists, according to science. Science does not believe in consciousness alone existing at all. Science says consciousness is something which is caused due to electrical impulses in the brain. Very, very different than Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta puts the entire world into consciousness. And consciousness is an independent subject matter in Vedanta. So one school of thought says matter alone exists. There is no consciousness. That means it is Jativada. Jativada means there is a created world which is existing. The second school of thought says matter exists, consciousness exists. This is purely Sankhya theory, Sankhya and Yoga. What do they say? Matter also is there, it is real. Consciousness is also there, which is real. So again, this is Jativada. Jati means origination. There is origination in the world. World originates. Now, the third view, see, if you understand these three views, you can understand all the 5 verses which we are doing. So this is fundamental to all the 5 verses of Buddhism which we are discussing. Third matam is what? Consciousness alone exists. It exists forever. In the case of Advaita. In the case of Shanika Vijnana, but Vijnani Buddhism, which is called as Yogachara, this is a momentary consciousness. The difference between Buddhism and Advaita is, in the Buddhist Yogachara Matam, they talk about momentary consciousness. Every moment the consciousness is born, it dies. Born, it dies. And that Matam is called as Ajativada. Ajati means there is no origination of the world. So this we have seen. Science talks about materialistic school. Brain is matter. It has electrical impulses. They appear as though they are conscious. The electrical impulses appear to be conscious. But then another question is, am I only conscious at the brain level or at the feet level also? If I touch my feet, I'm conscious. I'm aware. That means that consciousness is available throughout the body. It is not only an electrical disturbance in the brain. You give a shock, immediately you recognize what is consciousness. You are aware, you become aware. So in Shanika Vijnanam, consciousness alone is there, no matter is separate from consciousness. We also believe, they also believe. What does Sankhya say? Consciousness and matter both exist. And both are different. Consciousness is different, it is sentient, matter is insentient. And this is not that, and that is not this. That means matter is not consciousness, consciousness is not matter. But if you know them both as independently existing, you can never get moksha. By knowing one thing in the universe, you can know everything about the universe. You remember how in Mundaka Upanishad, in Chandogya Upanishad, these things are discussed. So Hinayana is like Sankhya. It accepts an observer and the observed world. They are Dvaita philosophers. There is consciousness and there is an inert world. And both are real. See, the most important thing is in Advaitam, consciousness is real and world is mithya. The argument of Shanika Vijnana is different experiences are there not because of the presence of external objects, but because different Shanika Vijnanams are generated every moment. How do we experience a continuous world? They say like Ganga water. Ganga river is flowing continuously. If you take bath this is their example. This is the Purva Pakshi's example. They say that if you take a bath in the Ganga water, you are not taking the bath in the same Ganga water throughout your bath. The water is flowing. And what do they say? In dream also, there are no external objects. This is the argument of Shanika Vijnana. But there is continuous flow in the dream because moment to moment there is Vijnana, there is knowledge. They also give in other areas, in other Bashyam, Shankaracharya gives another example. Like a flame. Another example they give is about a flame. When we watch a flame, it is not the same flame we are watching. Why? Because continuously the flame is flickering, our eyes are not able to notice that. And the flame is depleting because the moment the oil finishes, the flame dies down. That is another example they use to prove their matam, to say there is a continuous flow of momentary consciousness, which our eyes are not able to see it. And that is what is the world. What does Hinayana, the other Buddhistic school, this is Shanika Vijnana. What does Hinayana say? Hinayana says one music is liked by a son. It may not be liked by the father or the grandfather or the sister. So two arguments they give. First argument is Anubhava Vaichitriyam. There are different types of experiences. So there must be something outside. If it is momentary consciousness, then everybody should like the same music. Why somebody likes it, somebody doesn't like it? That's first argument. The second argument is emotional plurality. Emotional plurality means somebody feels pleasurable, somebody feels pain. These are all to do with the emotions. So cognitive perception requires an object outside. So enjoyer status of the jiva proves that there is an object outside. This is the argument against the Shanika Vijnanam, again by the Hinayana Matams. So Karika 24 dealt with the Vaibhashika Dvaita philosophers, which is under Hinayana. 25, 26, 27, 3 verses, Yogachara Matam is going to debate with Vaibhashikas. Yogachara says what? World can never stand independent of the observer. This is, in the past, I have discussed in other places in Mandukya, Drishti, Srishti, Bhada. Unless until there is a Drishti of the world, there is no Srishti, there is no creation. That is Yogachara. Dream world, we have seen the example. Dream world is an example of that. There is no world, and it is dependent on the observer, dreamer. Even quantum physics questions the independent existence of the world. They do not, they are asking what is there beyond atoms and molecules and neutron? Ultimately, what we say is there is an observer. That is the ultimate in the creation. Okay. So 2 reasons I have already discussed is, one is there is variety of experiences, and second reason is there is painful and pleasurable experiences. These are the 2 arguments for Hinayana to prove the existence of the world. This is how Hinayana present their argument. This thing, as I told you, is we do not believe in the reality of the world. We believe in the experienceability of the world. This is how Yogachara will now argue with the Hinayani. So all this 24th Karika is to do with the Hinayani Buddhism, which is a Dvaita philosopher which believes there is an external real world. Subject and object both are factually existing. Atma and Anatma are equally real. Prakriti and Purusha are in the same order of reality. Experientially and factually. See, this is how you should now see what is our matam. Advaitin says what? Atma is of a higher order. Anatma is lower. Anatma is Vyavaharika Satyam. Atma is Paramarthika Satyam. They are not of the same order of reality. Therefore, we say the whole world is existing in consciousness. It rises from consciousness. It dissolves into consciousness. Knowing that consciousness as the ultimate truth, I can be free. That knowledge itself gives me moksha. So world is there, you accept creation, that is Jativada. That is what is said in 24th Karika, which is the school of Vaibhashika. Vaibhashika is, then another name for Vaibhashika is Hinayana. And who will be debating? The Mahayana people will debate with this school of thought in the 25th Karika. So in the 25th Karika, now let us just play this Karika first.
Prajnaptehe sanimittattvam. Prajnaptehe sanimittattvam. Ishyate yukti darshanat. Ishyate yukti darshanat. निमित्तस्यानिमित्तत्वम् निमित्तस्यानिमित्तत्वम् इष्यते भूतदर्शनात् इष्यते भूतदर्शनात्.
What is the main argument of the Madhyamika, which is Yogachara, against the Hinayana, which is Vaibhashika? The main argument they say is you at the relative level, pluralistic level, variety exists and relationships exist. Pleasure, pain is there in the relative field. What we are saying is whatever is there in the relative field, it is illusion. Exactly like the dream world. Dream world is illusion. Yogachara says even the waking world is illusion. Because pain comes, pain goes away. Is it permanent? No. So they say the world is illusion. Exactly like that Dvaita. So plurality is not there in the absolute sense. Logically, for cognitions, yes, we say yes, it exists. This particular debate is a very very crucial debate even for Advaitins. So try to understand this the way they explain to the Hinayana group, which is Vaibhashika. This is how even Advaitin will argue with the Dvaitin. What does the Hinayana primarily say? There is an external world. What is the Yogachara? What will they say? They are saying there is no external world. Everything is a vritti in the mind. Yogachara says exactly like Advaitin. There is experienceability of the world. There is transactability in the world. There is utility in the world. ETU. Exactly like the dream world. In the dream world, there is ETU. And there is observer and observed in the dream. In the waking also, there is observer and observed. Duality is accepted superficially. Like, for example, there is gold and then there is chain, ring, bangle. Duality. What Advaitin says is that duality is not asat. Asat means what? It is non-existent. One thing is existent. What do we say? Consciousness is existence. This which is non-dual. There is no duality, plurality in consciousness, Turiyatma. We don't call the dream or waking as non-existent. We give it a new term called mithya. This is coined by Yogachara and Advaita. Very important point in Advaita. If you want to get moksha, you must realize this and you must understand this very clearly. What is waking and dream? It is mithya. What is mithya? Mithya has ETU. It is experienced, it is transactable, and it has got utility also. I can have $1 million in my bank account. It is very real because I can use it to buy a house. I grow vegetables, I eat food. All this is transaction based. Are they non-existent? No. Advaitin and Yogachara Matham, they say it is not non-existent. Chain, ring, bangle is not non-existent. But it is another name given to gold. Gold is existent. Consciousness is like gold. Waking and dream is just like giving another name to the same consciousness which appears as waking and dream. Vedanta does not question the experienceability of the world. It does not want to alter the experiences at all. So, whenever we try to learn Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita, you must understand that Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads, they don't want to change the world at all. What do? Vedanta challenges the conclusion based on experience. What do all other schools of thought will say, or even when we don't have any knowledge of Vedanta, Gita, Upanishads, what will we say? We will say, I experience, therefore it is real. Then the Advaitin will ask the question, you experience blue sky. But is the sky really blue, or is it transparent and it is the sunlight which is getting reflected, which makes it appear blue, reflected in the particles in the sky. Sky itself is plain transparent, but it appears blue because of the sun shining and the particles reflecting the sun's rays makes them blue color. Another example, dream. Is dream real? No. At any time you ask today, where is yesterday's dream right now? Gone. So experience does not prove reality. We all see the earth. Our experience of the earth is it is flat. What does science tell us? Earth is round. So experienceability does not prove reality. We feel that we are all stationary. Earth is stationary. But geologists and all the scientists, they will say the earth is rotating at a super speed. My eyes cannot see it. Sense organs cannot perceive the motion of the earth. But the earth is moving. So experience and reality can be different. That is exactly what in Bhagavad Gita in the 9th chapter, which we have seen this 20, 30 times in the Mandukya Upanishad. Maya tathamidam sarvam jagadabhyakta murtina mastani sarvabhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha. The world is pervaded by me. That means consciousness pervades the entire universe. Pervades means what? Universe borrows consciousness and existence from Atma, Turiya Atma. But is that consciousness or existence in the world which we experience? Is it real? No. It is not intrinsic quality of the world. It is intrinsic to the Atma. I, the Turiya Atma, am intrinsically existent principle. In the very next verse, Lord Krishna says, I do not exist in them. That means I am only lending existence to the world. So superficial experiential existence is there in the world, is there in the body, is there in the mind, but it is not intrinsic. It is borrowed existence, exactly like the dream world has got borrowed existence from the observer. It does not have, and that is what we call it as mithya. And what do we call it as satyam? We call satyam which is always existing. What is always existing? I, the consciousness, Atma, pure Chaitanyam, pure Sat principle always exists. So Yogacara says, inquire about the world like what we also say. Inquiry, do inquiry. Check whether my waking state is continuously there or it has a break in sleep. In the sleep state, I don't experience the world. Therefore, I cannot say that the world is Satyam. But there is something which is always Satyam, which is I, the Atma. So world has got name and form. Pot has got name and form. World does not have existence of its own. Pot does not have existence of its own. The existence of the pot is borrowed from clay. The existence of the world is borrowed from Atma or the Chaitanyam, the Chit principle, consciousness principle, or existence principle. This is very, very deep inquiry. The world becomes non-world when you inquire. When objects, all the objects, suppose you are able to remove, what remains in the world? Suppose you have a machine, remove all the worldly objects, remove the mountains, rivers, everything you remove. Remove the entire movie in the screen. What remains? Screen remains. That is what we call it as amani bhava. Suppose you remove from the mind all the cognitions, all the thoughts are removed. What remains? Pure mind. That is not called a mind. That is why it is called as amani bhava. Amani, that means mindless. Mindlessness is the nature of the mind. It's like removing the banana stem. One by one, you remove the skin or the onion peeling. Ultimately, what is left? Nothing is left. So, Yogacara Matam debates with the Hinayana and says, you inquire into the world and you will realize the world is name and form. Now, this theory of name and form is taken from Chandogya Upanishad, 6th chapter. That is where Tattvamasi comes in 9 times in the 6th chapter. Very, very important chapter to understand how we say that Brahman alone is there. In that Upanishad, Turiyam is taken as Karana. In Mandukya, Turiyam is taken as Vilakshana. So in Chandogya, world is made up of 3 elements, not 5 elements. Fire, water, earth. Now these 3 elements are Vacharambanam. They are only in the they are not intrinsically existing. They depend on something else. They depend on Brahman for existence. So Dvayanashar Sankleshva, okay, this we have already discussed. World is perceived, hence existent. That is an intermediary conclusion. What Vedanta says is, world is perceived. Yes, we also agree. But it is not the absolute. You go inquire into the world more, and what is the final conclusion? That is what comes in the 25th Karika. How do the Mahayana discussed with the Hinayana? They ask the question, what is the final conclusion? What is the ultimate conclusion when we do your inquiry? The Mahayana school says, we accept the world at the Adhyaropa stage. We reject the world at the Apavada stage. When you are seeing the forest, there is no elephant. When you realize consciousness, there is no objective universe. World is not world. World is Brahma Chaitanyam. Ring, chain, bangle are nothing but gold. Similarly, world is nothing but Chaitanya. As long as you don't inquire into the nature of the pot, you will conclude pot is existent. But once you start inquiry, you will find that pot has no independent existence by itself. It borrows clay and then it survives. What about clay? Clay is the swarupam of pot. It can exist independently. So pot, the question which generally we ask the Dvaitin is, suppose we place pot in one side and clay on the right side, can we separate them like that? No. Similarly, if you cannot separate pot and clay as two different substances, what is pot and what is clay? They are two names. But how many substances are there? Only one clay is there. Clay appears as pot with a name, word, thought, all that is there in the pot. But the substance is one. Similarly, what we say is consciousness is the substance of the universe. World is just a name. You, me, mountain, river, table, everything is just a name. Everything dissolves in consciousness. So this is the high vision of Advaita. This vision is called as Swarupa Jnana. Vritti Jnanam is the pot Jnana. And what are the verses which come and which negate the world in the Shruti? See, we have now shown the logical side, but we should also take the Shruti Vakyam, because we have to use Shruti, Yukti and Anubhava. Shruti Vakyams, very, very important Vakyams for negation of the world, Apavada of the world, is Kathopanishad, the second chapter, the 11th mantra of the first section. Manasai Veda Vaptavyam Nehana Nasti Kinchana. We have seen this verse many times in the Mandukya talks. By mind alone, we can understand that ultimate truth is Atma. Ultimate truth is consciousness. There is only one non-dual Chaitanyam which is there in the universe. And whoever sees plurality in the universe, he is going from death to death. Mrityum gacchati, mrityosa mrityum gacchati. Goes from death to death means what? Moment to moment, he is experiencing. One experience is gone, another experience is come. Even in our life, old age has come, youth was there, childhood was there, experiences have come and gone. If you focus on the experiences, you will always be in duality. Like the movie. If you focus on the screen, on what is this entire world seen? It is seen in the light of consciousness. Similarly, in Kaivalya Upanishad, na bhumi rapo na chavanne rasti na chanilo nesti na chambaram cha. Ekam viditva paramatma rupam guhashayam nishkalam advitiyam. There is only one Advitiya Vastu. These are the pramanams. These are the proof To say that there is no earth, there is no water, there is no ultimately Panchabhutas. What exists in the world is only Atma or Brahman. In Chandogya Upanishad, the very first mantra of the second section says, Sadeva Saumya idamagre asit. Right in the beginning, what was there? This pure consciousness, pure being alone was there. So even now the same, what does Veda say? The same consciousness is there even now. If I'm able to sit in meditation and negate the waking state, dream state, sleep state, I will be experiencing the same pure being, which is my real nature. By knowing that pure being, I become free. I don't have too much attachments to the waking state, dream state. Like the dream state came and gone, I will also say the waking state has come and gone. So our experiences in the world are being questioned as either real or unreal. One question which the Hinayana or Advaitin will ask the Dvaitin is, are there two separate substances like horse and buffalo? Two independently existing substances. If there are two independent substances, there can be two words. But suppose you have pot clay, only one substance, but two words are there. Those two words which we say, it is mithya. I'm sure by now you understand Satyam and Mithya. Very, very, very involved discussions in these Karikas. They make our Advaita philosophy very clear. You are in the 4th chapter, 25th verse. You can remember what you were when you started the Mandukya Upanishad 2 years ago and what you are trying to absorb today. What a world of a difference of understanding about the world, about the Jiva Jagat Ishvara. That is what we are discussing all throughout. World as object is not there separate from existence consciousness. This is what we say in Bhagavad Gita. In the 13th chapter, Lord Krishna comes to the Asipada, where the equation Jiva is equal to Brahman comes up in the 3rd verse of the 13th chapter. I was talking about it yesterday in the Bhagavad Gita class also. Kshetrajnam is Atma. It is the same as Turyatma. It is the same as Purusha. Kshetram is the field. It includes the body, mind, world, entire Anatma. That Kshetram is called as Prakriti. Kshetrajna is called as Purusha. The 3 states, the 5 koshas, the 3 bodies are all Prakriti only. They are all matter principle. But what is shining in those 3 koshas, in the 5 koshas and the 3 states is Atma. Science also, you go from objects to molecules to atoms, subatomic particles, and then you go to energy. Ultimately, you have to come to consciousness, the observing principle. Who is the scientist who is observing, who is analyzing? So what is the difference between the analyzer, the researcher and the researched? Researched is all matter, which can be seen, perceived by the 5 sense organs, inferred by the sense organs. You can draw a lot of conclusions. But without the observer consciousness, nothing can be done. So similarly, cloth, thread, strands, they are dissolved in cotton. Cotton finally comes from earth. Earth comes from water. Water comes from Agni, fire. Fire comes from air. Air comes from space. And space comes from Brahman. So by the mind, you should inquire into the world, and then you will understand that the world is nothing but Shabda and Pratyaya. Shabda means word, and then Pratyaya means it is a thought. So this mantra I have already discussed. This mantra also I have discussed. Taittiriya Upanishad. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidvan. This consciousness cannot be described by words. Why? Because words have got they have got no possibility to have access to consciousness. But how do we know consciousness? Through the pramanam called as Veda. I take Veda as Satyam and I say, okay, whatever Veda teaches me about myself as consciousness, I take it as a reality. And that is the truth, ultimate truth. World is an appearance, consciousness is the ultimate substance, which is Nityam. World has got borrowed existence, consciousness has got intrinsic existence. This is a revision portion. I have already discussed all this. So in the waking state, all object outside is experienced, and all thought is there in the mind. When we inquire, what is this wall? Ultimately, you will say it is mithya. It is experienced, but does not have independent existence apart from the observer consciousness. Bhuta darshanam jagatu mithya. Bhuta darshanam means pancha bhuta darshana. Jagat is mithya. And if you look at this mithya world and go further, you can say it is Shabda and Nama and Rupa. For every object, you have a name and a form. Name, form are in the mind. Outside, there is a world of objects, but in your mind, there is a name and form. That is how Yogacara says, everything is there in the mind. Outside is only an experience which you have, which we don't negate. So, pot is a word, nama rupa pratyaya. External objects, not real objects, they don't have independent existence. Similar like the rope snake. Rope snake, does the rope snake really exist? No, it is an illusion. Snake is an object outside, it is arthadhyasa. I have projected snake outside. Jnanam is inside. I've got an error in my intellect as a misconception. It is jnana adhyasa inside, and there is an artha adhyasa for a mithya object. So non-snake is called as is called as mithya. Mithya means it is experienced, but it is really not there. Okay, then so one argument of the unreality of the world is, by studying the object itself, you can say it is mithya. The third argument is, as long as delusion is in the mind, false object is seen. Moment the delusion is gone, false object is gone. Delusion does not exist independent of Bhranti Darshanam. So all our study in Vedanta, in Upanishads, is to remove this delusion from the mind. We are not removing the the experienceability of the objects. Like I told you before, the Vedanta doesn't want to change your vision of the world, but your understanding of the world. The Vishaya does not exist separate from your thoughts. Even in Atma Bodha, we have this verse: attachment, desire, pleasure, pain, they're all perceived to exist as long as the intellect is functioning. In sleep state, where is attachment? Not one single desire is there in the sleep state. Why? Because mind is not there. Which means what? All the desires I have are all in the mind. And what is mind? Mind is mithya. It is not permanent. That is what is discussed even in Atma Bodha. So raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, is it in Atma or is it in mind? Simple, it is only in the mind. If it was there in Atma, it would be permanently there. It will be intrinsic quality of me. I will not lose that raga and dvesha in the sleep state. Even in the sleep state, I will be asking myself, how do I get the next house, or how do I work on some other goals in life? So world experienced is one of the nimittam. World is not experienced, is animittam. Nimittam means cause. World does not have worldness. In deep sleep state, there is no world. Therefore, we say world and others are there for experience, but it is not there in reality. Yogic Samadhi says that you can deliberately drown your thoughts in Samadhi by practice. So when all the thoughts are gone, like all the waves in the ocean are no more there, it is a breezeless ocean. There is windless ocean. So what will be there? One mass of water without any disturbance. Similarly, when the mind is steady, there is no vritti formation in the mind. You will observe that the world is not there. This is yogic samadhi. It is possible to achieve this samadhi even in meditation. But Vedanta doesn't attach too much importance to yogic samadhi, because they say you just experience your sleep state. There is a natural resolution of mind and thoughts, and thoughtless state is there. In thoughtless state, there is no world. This is an experience for all of us every single day. Vedanta is only asking, check your experience and tell me whether world is mithya or is it satyam. Is it an appearing, disappearing world of 5 elements as per the law of karma, or is it a real world always there? So while experiencing the world, a jnani, because of knowledge, can negate the Panchabhuta world and see the existence consciousness in and through the world. We can also practice that in our day-to-day life. Whenever you are experiencing the world, just check, I am the existence, I am the consciousness. The perceptions in the eyes are being illumined by my light. I lend existence to the world. So this is how it is possible for us to live Advaita Vedanta in day-to-day life. While living in our waking state itself, if you can practice with this knowledge at the background, I am always there, I am the screen, I am the consciousness. The world which I experience is made up of panchabhutas. They are coming in through the five sense organs. They are temporary. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. I have titiksha. Whatever comes in all problems which come, raga, dvesha, delusions, having known that I am the screen, I can face the world much more stronger. I have the shock absorber now with me. This Advaita Jnanam is the shock absorber. Adhyasa Sattve Dvaita Satyam. Bhranti is due to Adhyasa, wrong superimposition. Adhyasa means what? I am always pure. But then I connect with the thought in my mind, and then I say, yeah, this is, and then I give reality to the thoughts. I give reality to all the perceptions of the sense organs. So this is a jnanam. Through jnanam, I get moksha. This is the difference between karma and jnana. In Bhagavad Gita, what I am doing in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the debate is whether karma has got any role in this jnanam for moksha. In Mandukya Upanishad, it clearly says there is no role of karma. I know Veda, which teaches me about Atma Jnanam, and I remove the misperception of the world, which is Adhyasa, due to Ajnana. Ajnanam of what? Ajnanam of the Nitya Vastu, which is I, the Atma, Turiya. So once the Adhyasa is gone, Ajnanam will go away, and I can claim whatever is said in the fourth mantra of Bhagavad Gita 4 and 5, I can claim 100% as the truth. There was a time when I never understood this mantra. But today, after Mandukya Upanishad, I can easily say these two mantras are the revelations in the Bhagavad Gita for Advaita Vedanta. So far, what have we seen? Two schools of thoughts, Hinayana, Mahayana. Hinayana says world exists. Mahayana says no external world. Hinayana says I experience Dvaitam, therefore it is the truth. I experience pain, therefore world exists. This is one debate of the Hinayana, which is also called as Vaibhashika. Mahayana, what do they say? Three arguments. Bhuta Darshanat, Abhuta Darshanat, Bhranti Vishatvat. Bhuta Darshanat means five elements are seen, experienced in the waking state. Abhuta Darshanat means five elements and world are not seen in the sleep state. Therefore, no world. And then they give you the world is nothing but it is Bhranti, it is delusion. So this finishes the 25th Karika. In Vichara Sagara, in the 4th chapter, there is the same truth which is described. Artha Adhyasa and Jnana Adhyasa. When Jnana Adhyasa is corrected by operating the Jnanam of the Upanishads, then what happens? The Artha which I have been seeing through the sense organs, they are proved to be false perceptions. You can do it through you can do the analysis either with jnanam, or you can analyze artha itself. Artha means the object itself, like how we say that ultimately clay, pot is clay, and clay is earth, earth is coming from fire, and so on. So by these two analysis itself, you can prove that world is mithya. These are what we have discussed today is the deepest inquiry ever possible in Vedanta. Very, very deep inquiry we have dealt with. You may have to revise it if you want to make it a little bit more strong. Whenever we discuss consciousness, there are three prakriyas. One prakriya is abhasavadi. This is coming from Vichara Sagara. In Vichara Sagara, these three are discussed so beautifully. Abhas, I'm just giving you some more information on the 25th Karika. That's all. We have finished the Karika. This is just a little bit of side information. What is Abhasavadi theory? Consciousness is reflected in the mind. So Abhasa means reflection theory. That is, you use the mirror and the reflection example in Abhasavada to say how consciousness appears in this world because of reflection in my mind, and through the reflection in the mind and through the sense organs, it flows out to the world. If you want to know the one consciousness, bring back the consciousness from the world to the mind, from the mind to the original face, which is I, the pure consciousness. The second school of for consciousness, these are all Vedantic. There are 325 schools given in the science. In some YouTube, there is a YouTube which discusses, but they all depend on this only. The second school is called Avachhedyavada. The space enclosed in the hall and the space outside. This is the example they use for the space, for the consciousness, and they say through the space example we can understand consciousness. There is consciousness in this body, awareness in this body. When the body breaks down, ultimately the consciousness which was inside merges with the consciousness outside. Therefore, I, the consciousness, am always there. That is the second school of thought. The third school of thought is Pratibimbavadi. Sun is always there in the sky. It gets reflected in the water. In a pot of water, you can get the reflection of the sun. Our mind is like the water. It can reflect sun. It can reflect the consciousness. Abhasa and Pratibimbavadi are very close, but slight differences are there. Next week, we will start the 26th Karika. I will close today's session. These are again 26 and 27 are again Yogachara Matam. How Yogachara, similar discussions will take place. So it will be slightly easier because you have done this in great depth today. Okay. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.